It is safe and easy for Spankos to call out prominent abusers in the scene.
One of my very close, first friends in the Spanko scene was abused in the scene, and she called out her abuser, and her life turned upside down, and it was horrible. She was immediately accused of actually instigating all of the consent violations and doing things with her partner's other partner, and it became a mess. Other authorities were involved, but because she was very prominent in the community, she was able to write on FetLife about her experiences and call out the abuser, and other people who were victimized felt confident in coming out and talking about their own abuse. Because of her actions, an abuser in the community was put away. And I'm so glad that she was able to use her platform to stand up for people that were victimized.
I want to say something very important here. Personally, I will be standing all the way over there and strongly disagree. But I'm standing here and agreeing because I want to make a point. I find it easy and safe for me to out an abuser because I'm a man. And that's a problem in every single community. As a man, people will listen to me if I call out someone. And the problem is, most men don't do that. Most men just wait until shit hits the fan, until everyone starts piling up evidence. Most men call out the victims and ask them to prove their abuse. And that is bullshit. As a man, I'm ashamed of that people. And I'm standing here because I'm ashamed that I am a part of that, just for being who I am. It shouldn't be. Most men need to actually stand up for victims.
I will say that if you compare it to a situation like the Me Too movement, I know there are some famous people that have been accused of things, and when someone comes forward about it, the person who comes forward gets backlash just because the person who was being accused has such a large fan base, or if they have a lot of pull in the community. A lot of people are probably just going to side with them because it will look weird if they don't. And that is another big problem. Even let's say if it was a woman who had broken the consent violations with a man, if the man came forward, if that woman was super known in the community, there's still a chance that the man would be slandered.
I wish more of the general population shared my fetish.
I'll just keep it short and sweet. I think it's a cute little inside joke. It's fun. There's some things that I can tell to the Spanko community that I can't say to their vanilla friends, which I just think it's fun. I think it's a little party all the time.
I think there is beauty in things that are unique. And if everything were like this, sure, it could be fun and it might be nice not having to have gone through that whole troubling thing of what is my sexuality? But I love that. I feel like everything has a reason and a purpose, and I feel like I would not fully understand myself and my fetish had I not gone through some of that. And not everybody has to be the same. That's kind of what makes us special. We have our own way of engaging in our sexuality, and it's beautiful, and we don't have to be like everybody else.
I fully agree with what you two said, and I was going to say something similar, but now I want to add that while I still maintain, for me, standing in this lane, that is coming from a place of extreme privilege. I live in California. There are so many Spankos in California. I mean, northern or southern, it's a 6-hour drive. I've hung out with Spankos at least once a month since I joined the community 2 years ago. Not everyone has that. There are people in the middle of nowhere who have to take a 16-hour plane to find anyone. So while I enjoy it being a small little club, I would love for other people to have more access.
I completely agree that I want more persons sharing my fetish because, of course, I live in Brazil and I take like 10 hours flight almost to get in here. So I desperate want that more people share my fetish and my.
I think 2 or 3 times as many of us would be kind of nice, but any more than that, and I think it would ruin our secret little club. So.
I believe the Spanko scene should be centralized around a few parties, people, or communities.
But I've seen what happens when the scene gets centralized on a single person. I've seen the rise of ego on a single person and how badly that can destroy a community. I've seen how that person, or in general, how a single person, a single leader, a single group, a single entity that leads a scene, getting that much power, that much importance, can completely ruin something for hundreds upon thousands of people. There's a lot of people who I know were affected by a certain incident, who have gone back into the closet, who have never found that sense of community again because of that. And so absolutely fucking not.
I think, yeah, one person, I agree with you. Definitely not. Even one party or scene, definitely not also. But I do think if there was one general community for our sexuality, that would be really cool. I think there wouldn't be as many situations where a couple of people or, one incident would kind of overshadow a whole community if the community was much larger and everyone kind of was in the same situation. And I think that would be a positive thing overall.
The way I kind of look at it is like if I could create a dream world where like this is what I would ideally want. I wouldn't want there to be like one or like two like types of communities run by like a handful of people. Ideally, I would love for there to be in every area of the globe enough people stepping up to create micro communities of friends that can then gather to bigger events that people want to host, to where everybody can feel like they have some semblance of community, somewhere to go, somewhere to belong, somewhere to connect, while not putting all of that pressure on a handful of individuals who can then end up becoming like the person you talk about, who like within that area ends up having too much power, too much influence, that things crumble. I feel like if it were dispersed more evenly, it would give more people a semblance of a place to belong, and we could still have bigger events to then all come together.
Yeah, you pretty much said what I was going to say. But yeah, just thinking globally and thinking there must be more Spankos in Australia. Would love to see, bigger communities in other parts of the world other than the United States and like Europe and UK.
The fact that we've found like smaller communities, like smaller groups of friends, have made it so those friendships, those dynamics, those moments we share feel a lot more special. I also am a member of the gaming community. I'm a huge gamer. And yes, there are a lot of conventions where a lot of gamers go and hang out. And the situation is you never meet anyone new there. It's very rare. You always go with your friends. And it's the same situation here. Yes, there are the bigger parties, yes, there are the bigger events, but it's usually the smaller groups that are the ones that give a more meaningful existence to your own community. Also, adding a little bit on what he said over there. My example was only about one person, but it's not a single case. I've seen this happen over and over again, not just in a person, but in multiple parties, multiple people who gain way too much power and end up causing a lot of damage. No matter how good the intentions are, if you centralize power on a single entity, be it a group, be it a person, be a few big parties, a few big groups, if it's small enough, it will cause a cult of personality. and it will always, always end badly.